Ready to dive into something pretty wild. Predicting the future. Well, the future of the 2024 U.S. presidential election, to be exact.
Trying to figure out who's going to be sitting in the Oval Office next. Always a fun game, right?
You bet. And we've got this article, Se Pegó el Texto. It throws two pretty big names in the forecasting world at us.
Oh, yeah. I'm intrigued.
For real. And they've got totally different ways of looking at things. So, how accurate can we really be about this stuff?
It's a great question, and the article really dives into this head-to-head between two totally different approaches. And honestly, both have a pretty impressive track record.
Okay, so who are these forecasting gurus?
Well, on one side, you've got Allan Lichtman, historian professor over at American University. And get this, she's predicted 9 of the last 10 presidential elections, right?
9 out of 10. That's like some serious Nostradamus stuff.
Right. Then in the other corner, you've got Nate Silver, the stats whiz, the guy behind FiveThirtyEight. If you're following election predictions online, you've definitely bumped into his site.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So Lichtman's got this 13 keys to the White House, right?
Yeah.
Sounds kind of mystical.
Almost. It's like she's cracked some historical code. Her whole thing is about finding these long-term patterns that keep popping up, throughout history. She's not getting distracted by all the craziness of the campaign itself. It's more about the big picture.
And what's she saying about 2024?
Well, buckle up, because according to her keys, she's already putting her money on Kamala Harris. And get this, 8 of those 13 keys are pointing right at her.
Wow. 8 keys already. So spill the beans. What are these magical keys?
All right, hold on. Think about things like how the economy's doing. Is it booming or busting? Any major social unrest happening? Heck, even how charismatic the candidates are could be part of it.
Interesting. So it's not just about the here and now, it's about these deeper currents flowing beneath the surface.
Exactly, like history is repeating itself, or at least rhyming, as some say.
Okay, but then we've got Silver over here with his dynamic model, which sounds way more high-tech.
Oh, it is. He's all about the data. Think polls, economic indicators, even voter turnout. He's crunching those numbers constantly, and his predictions can shift, daily, based on what the data's saying.
Whoa, so it's super responsive to everything that's going on right now.
Exactly. He's not locked into any historical patterns. He's riding the wave, He believes that things like campaign events, even those presidential debates, can totally change the game.
So we've got Lichtman looking at these big historical trends and Silver tracking the public mood in real time. That's got to lead to some serious disagreement.
It totally does. Imagine them arguing at a dinner party. It'd be epic. Silver would be all about how a single gaffe in a debate can tank a candidate, and Lichtman would be saying, nope, it's the underlying national mood that matters.
Yeah.
Fascinating stuff.
It really is. So are we ready to declare a winner in the forecasting face-off?
Hold on. Before we do, our article brings in another voice. This guy, Thomas Miller, a data scientist, and he's like the voice of reason in all this. He's pumping the brakes a little bit, saying, hey, maybe neither of these methods is perfect.
Makes sense. Everyone's got their biases, right?
Totally. Miller's pointing out that Lichtman's historical model might miss those unexpected twists and turns in a campaign. But then Silver's relying so heavily on polls, and we all know those can be pretty shaky sometimes.
Yeah, good point. Polls are just a snapshot in time. They don't tell the whole story.
Right. So what we're left with is this really complex picture. We've got history echoing in the background, and then this constantly shifting public opinion in the foreground. Trying to predict American politics is like trying to nail jelly to a wall, right?
Totally. You can't ignore the big historical trends, but then these wild swings in public opinion can throw everything off.
It really highlights how tough it is to say for sure what really determines an election. Are we all just playing out some historical script, or are we truly free to change the course of events?
Those are some deep questions, man.
Yeah.
So what's the takeaway for all of us who are glued to the news and trying to make sense of it all?
I think the big lesson here is that predicting elections is this blend of art and science. You got to understand the historical patterns, but you also got to have your finger on the pulse of what people are feeling right now. Because public sentiment, it can change like the wind.
So as we're bombarded with campaign news and polls and all that, what should we be paying attention to? The long view or the daily drama?
It's all part of the puzzle, right? But as you're processing everything, ask yourself, what feels more convincing to you? Does Lichtman's historical approach resonate more? Or do you buy into Silver's data-driven model?
Great question. I think I'm going to need some time to mull that one over.
I think we all do. And you know what? This article is just a starting point. If you're really curious, I'd suggest diving deeper. Look up Lichtman's 13 Keys and see if you agree with her. Or head over to 538 and get lost in their data visualizations. It's pretty amazing how they make all those numbers come alive.
That's a great idea. I'm definitely going to check those out. Thanks for taking us on this deep dive today. It's been fascinating.
Absolutely. Always happy to explore the wild world of politics and especially election predictions with you.
Until next time, folks, stay curious.
And keep those thinking caps on.